We recently got some oddball gameplay from the Halo Infinite multiplayer, and I gotta be honest with you guys, the gameplay disappointed me in all the wrong reasons. Not because it's oddball or Halo Infinite, I'm actually pretty excited for that, but who on earth was playing in this gameplay?
What are you doing, lad? Pull back! Hit it for Christ's sake! What are you doing? Move!
The video was posted by IGN, and I've actually quite liked their Halo Infinite coverage in the past, but this? Misaligned crosshairs, firing grenades way too early, and even getting hit by your own grenades as well. And while I can't 100% confirm it, I think they're going against bots as well. Okay, I get it. I'm giving this guy a hard time. When recording these first looks, you're under a lot of pressure. And not just that, you're playing a map that you've never played before, so it can be a little bit confusing, fine. I totally get it. But there is some close quarters gameplay here that any player would understand no matter what map you're on. I don't want to rag on the guy either, so I'm not going to go in too hard when reviewing this gameplay. I'm not the best Halo player either, and you'll know that if you've seen some of our streams.
I got him. Bottom center. I got to reload. Oh my god, I had to reload!
But let's rewind back to the beginning and actually address the issue in this gameplay. We're playing on a new map called Streets, and this map's for Capture the Flag, King of the Hill, Deathmatch, you know the whole drill. And after looking at other gameplay of this map, I think it might be one of the best maps to come out yet. And that's saying a lot considering the maps that came out with the Halo Technical Flight were absolutely phenomenal. So one thing to note about this map is it's an asymmetrical map. Both teams spawn in different areas from one side to the other. For new players, this means it might take more time to adjust to this type of map, but it doesn't help that you're AFK for the first 5 seconds of the match, especially when this map is quite small. You can see the enemy team almost instantly after the match starts, so that's how small this map is. But you know what? He's probably setting up his recording, make sure it's all fine, so I can't really judge him too much on that. The guy is obviously using a controller, as you can see by the way he turns. There's not a lot of verticality in his movements, and that's something to take quite a lot of notice of because Streets has a lot of verticality compared to other maps. But the first issue is that the crosshair's not even properly aligned to the head. And then right after the engagement, the grenade goes off a little bit too early because you can't bounce it off walls to get it around the corner. But you know, I've done that plenty of times, so I don't know why I'm getting angry over that. It's this next part that gets me mad. The man decides to throw another one, fluke it, and then get hit by his own grenade. Eckhart's Ladder made a really good point that this gameplay was being made with DK bongos. Maybe that's why he took 5 seconds to set up, because he had to make sure the whole thing was working properly. Now, I know this gameplay is from something more casual, it's not ranked or whatever, but coming into a scenario where you've got 2 players, you run out of bullets in your AR and have to draw out the pistol, you don't want to be running across open areas. And that's why he took double damage from one player from the other end of the street and then the other player that he was aiming for. If there's one thing you want to know about any Halo multiplayer game, is that positioning is key. They give you a radar for a reason, so you can know your surroundings before even entering into it. However, I believe that type of gameplay isn't adopted until you've sunk quite a lot of hours into Halo. Honestly, minimap is key. It's going to give you way more information than the sounds the enemy makes from running or looking in front of you. So just as this guy respawns, we can see another 2 of his teammates down. They're under respawn timers, they're not going to be up for another 3 to 5 seconds. So in these circumstances, it's better to retreat and wait for your teammates. And whilst I get it, he's coming in and surveying the area for enemies. He does see an enemy overstep their boundaries and push a little bit further in on the map. That's fine, a little bit of distance firing with the pulse carbine. I totally get it, makes a lot of sense. The guy does quite a bit of damage and tries to dedicate by pushing it a bit more, but then lo and behold, it becomes a 2v1 and he gets knocked out. Unfortunately, next round of fires misses and he still dedicates and goes in for a melee, which wouldn't have killed this player, by the way. And he also had an option to retreat, because one of these 2 enemies backed out and accepted the bluff that there might have been more players on the other side. This guy was playing super aggressive, so it would have made sense thinking, wow, there's probably a few others behind him following up. But instead, he dedicated on somebody that probably would have needed 2 melees to be taken out. And look, I want to stress this. I've done these sort of things so many times before. The stress of trying to calculate how much damage you've done and whether or not they're executable by melee, I've miscalculated that plenty of times. But as I said, positioning is key, and when 2 of your teammates are down, you don't want to be in that position. Now, for this next clip, it actually starts out pretty well, but then it just gets worse and worse for some reason. We can see one of our teammates die on top of the oddball. He doesn't die by grenade, we can hear that by the sound, he dies by gunfire. This means that somebody is obviously very close to the oddball. This means we have sight advantage on the enemy, and it gets even better because as we approach the oddball, we see the enemy run towards it with his back facing towards us. This is a great advantage for us to prevent the enemy from getting to the objective. However, this guy runs right in, fails to secure the kill, over-dedicates, and then dies to 2 other players. In this scenario, it's much better to just fire from the back and then grenade on top of the oddball. We know where the enemies are heading. We see it on the radar. They're running to the objective like their life depends on it. So throw a grenade on top of the object because they're all clustered over it. And we know this guy has grenades. We can see it in the bottom right of the UI. Even better Halo players would know what our teammate died to by looking at the kill feed and seeing that they died by a rocket launcher. This means that it's not a favorable matchup for us. We don't really want to engage on that, so grenades would have been the best option. But again, we're talking about something that requires a lot more attentive skill, and I don't want to dunk on the guy that much because of it. It's much easier to objectively look at this gameplay and say, well, he should have done this, because we have an ample amount of time to decide what we need to do when this guy's playing in real time. The next part of the gameplay is actually not that bad. He's actually pretty good. He's got the reticle on the head a lot of the time. And he's doing a lot of damage because of it. And he gets that melee in at the right time. It's just unfortunate that we had 2 other enemies on the left side just coming in to finish him off before he could get away. The ally that was following up with him did take the guy that took him out as well. So it was a 1-for-1 exchange. So honestly, not the end of the world. If we want to give some praise, it'll be here. Next up, we see 2 grenade throws. One falls short and the other one actually lands. And you know what? I'm going to give him kudos here because the gravity of these grenades are much heavier than what is seen in, say, Halo 3. So if this guy is more familiar with Halo 3 physics for the grenades, then yeah, he's going to underthrow. I can't blame him for that one. After that, he follows up on the enemy trying to take out his ally, and he actually secures the kill really effectively. Next up, he grabs the objective and pulls out of the enemy's firing range and then crawls out into a higher ground. That's actually a really good idea. Higher ground is obviously going to give you a lot more power. As for crawling, I know he's trying to do that so he doesn't come up on the radar, but you're going to be completely revealed to the enemy team anyway. So he's kind of wasting time getting to a safer area to recharge his shields. After being bombarded with grenades and losing all of his shields, the enemy gets line of sight of him and he tries to run away, and then he sees another enemy with line of sight on him and he tries to get away from that guy, resulting him from leaving his team. Honestly, it's a knee-jerk result that I think a lot of people would do anyway, so fair enough. But because he splits up with his team, they can't protect him and he gets fired upon from a distance from another enemy. After respawn, he goes and grabs a power weapon, goes up to a higher level of elevation, and instead of using that high ground to his advantage, he just drops back down to the ground floor and gets taken out by 2 enemies. Not really thinking about his positioning here, he just wants to get in and start a fight. Not the best decision there, and honestly, he should have just stayed where he is and fired from above. And this is where things start to get tense, because the enemy is only 17 points away from winning. And honestly, this is when the player picks up the slack. As his teammates are dying one by one to prevent the enemy from picking up the oddball, he joins up with the only remaining allied team member, and they both collectively take out 2 of the enemy team in a small confined area. That's where he's able to grab the oddball and gain a lot of points for the team. And this is where I don't know if it's players or bots at this point, because he just stays in 1 point, pretty much AFK, and just scores a butt ton of points, and no one's contesting him even though they know where he is. It's hard to tell because all we see is a wall. The teammates might be doing a good job at protecting him in 1 point, and the enemies might just be not bothering with the objective and just wants to kill other players. But as you can tell by the kill feed, that only lasts for so long. His allies get taken down, it's just him left. He manages to melee 1 person, which is pretty good, but then the other 2 team members with rocket launchers take him out for the rest of it. Now this is where we get to the decider. Each team is less than 10 points to winning, and they're trying to rush directly to the objective. And this is where the enemy team falters. For some reason, the enemy that has a lot of high ground just falls down to the ground and turns his back to this player. That makes him a really easy kill. And the second enemy that comes in has a rocket launcher and doesn't even use it until point blank where he dies. So it's not even just the player's fault here. Everyone's kind of playing shit. That's where the game ends. For some reason they win, and that's the end of the gameplay. And honestly, this is why this Halo Infinite gameplay makes me mad. It's just done so poorly, and I get it, it's probably for some first hands-on or something like that. But man, just get some Halo veterans on there or something. Surely you've got 1 or 2 people in IGN that knows how to play Halo. But it actually gets worse. There was some gameplay of strongholds on the same map that was even worse than this oddball gameplay, and it came out like yesterday. So if you enjoyed this video, maybe I should cover that one as well. But I don't know, I digress at this point. What do you think about the gameplay footage? Did you like it? Did you not? Does it make you excited for Halo Infinite in any way? Curious to hear your thoughts. And hey, while you're at it, why not join our Discord? We have a chat room dedicated to Halo Infinite for when it comes out, because we're going to have a lot of coverage on this game on this channel in December. So be sure to join with the invite code in the pinned comment down below. Besides that, guys, I've been Charlie, you've been watching EcksToo, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care, guys.